Hey, this is the 7th of December, 2025, and we're sitting here football day watching all these crazy games and who's going to be number one, where they're at. I'm still not in these videos again. We have not been able to set up the studio. We've had big snowstorms in the Midwest, and I couldn't get the people out where I live now in Northwest Indiana. So apologize about that, but it'll take a few days. But what's the difference? Still can put these out. And again, now I have my internet, and that's been the hampering factor because we were using hotspots. All right. So this is the week of the Fed. And the market is widely anticipating that the Federal Reserve will, in fact, cut interest rates by 25 basis points. From there, the big question is, does President Trump announce before Christmas who the Fed chair is going to be or not? Don't know. Don't even know who he's got in the running. You know, we keep hearing there's 5 contenders still left in it, but then you hear rumors, that it's Kevin Hassett. So we'll see. But this meeting is Fed Chair Powell's meeting. And after that, if they name the next Fed chair, it's not quite the way that it was before. There's sway, but the members can bend and do what they want. So those are the things I want you to remember. You're pretty flat right now in the bonds and the notes. Most currencies, what you are is you're down a fraction in the dollar, and most currencies are trying to hold together. The word is that most central banks are going to sit tight, and the dollar will be the market that gets the cut. When we look at the S&P 500, I mean, come on, you're at all-time highs if the market were to finish here on a monthly basis. Now, it's only the 7th, so we've got a ways to go for this monthly to be working. As you can take a look at the area chart of closes, you've got the higher highs. You see the lower and low there. Market's still acting bullish, and it's over the 18-week, which is a bullish bias. When you break it down, though, on a bar chart, the real highest right here, where the market is 69.53.75, and that was the week ending October 31st. And then we went into a correction phase. I believe Santa has left the North Pole. He'll dodge and turn a little bit, but I think that you'll have a good ending to Christmas. You can see how the market's trying to come up through these old highs here of 6,950. It just did it. So that's going to turn this, and you'll have the swing line now pointing up. You'll have a higher high and lower and low as that occurs. It'll be on all of these in the S&P. So it won't be 2 arrows down. It'll be 1 arrow up, 1 arrow down at this point. And that's how I change it. Every now and then I like to explain that to people, how that works. And it gives you a pretty good idea of where you're at. Let's see if I can get this to give you the 80. There you are. And as you can see, you're overbought. Overbought conditions on a weekly chart don't get me to do anything major. Now, second thing. Trading futures off a weekly chart is exceptionally difficult, as what it can do at any point is it can burn you, and burn you terribly, because the risk on them is so big. I love trading weekly charts on spiders, ETFs, and stocks, and not my favorite to do it in the futures markets. When I look at the Dow Jones, you can see you're knocking on the door, trying to come up for the highs again, and you're overbought. In the Nasdaq, you have a higher high and a lower low. Not much I'd want you to do there. As we take a look at the Russell right here, higher high, lower low, not much to do there either. Then we get to the DAX. And you're about as neutral as you could get in terms of this. You closed over the 18-week average of closes. That means the bias turned up. On the other hand, the swing line is pointing down, and really, you're just about right at that 18-week average. Momentum turned up after getting oversold, so the market acts to me a little bit like it wants to go to the upside. We'll see if it fails and turns back under that 18-week average. I've moved you into the 30-year bonds now on this chart, and you can see that the government, whether they cut or not, the market is saying, but when you break, you're actually adding yield. The market is saying one thing that's very different than the bets in the CME FedWatch page is reporting. It is still adding yield here, not doing so much on the 10-year notes, and when you go to the 2 and 5, it's probably even a little different. In the foreign currency market, the dollar's got support, I would expect, at 98.45.5. The euro currency's got resistance right here at the 18-week moving average of closes. This all makes total sense where the market wants to be sort of neutral going into everything. The Canadian dollar just got a big, nice bid, and I can change this, get rid of this, as I will. And you can see you got a lower low and a higher high, but the first resistance point should be the old spot that the market fought at. Once it cleared this number, it found support here. Then it fought with it, as you can see consistently, and now you're rallying back up to it. If you can get a push, then the upper Bollinger Band becomes the next number. I'm not seeing a trend trade, though. I'm seeing a market that's on a vertical price move. In the Japanese yen, the weekly chart is staying bearish. Lower highs, lower lows, still looks to me like it wants to come down. In Bitcoin, we have lower highs, lower lows, but this is a short cover area. On the weekly chart, you're at the 100-week average in green, the lower Bollinger Band. I look for support to come in there. As you can see, in Brent and WTI, you slip back under the 18-week average of closes right here. It's been fighting a battle at that number for a while. In the Brent, you're still under the 18-week average with the trend down. However, I can make an argument you got lower highs but higher lows now. That puts me neutral on my stance there. I've got pretty much the same story in WTI. I think you see the higher lows but the lower highs right through here. Heating oil market is pulled back to support at the 100-day average in the 18, but here too, you got to the lower Bollinger Band, you stopped going down. You got up to the upper band, couldn't close over it, and you fell right back into the neutral zone. Not a big play going on there. So you put it all together, you've got to understand what you're dealing with this week in the Fed and the different ideas that are coming forth and how that will impact the markets. In the meantime, I'm Ira Epstein. Thanks for watching. Go to our website at iraepstein.com. Try some of the free offers that we have. You may find it helps you. I'm Ira. You take care.